All right, I think we got a good amount of people. So I am going to kick this off with a brief intro to our lovely masterclass host this evening. We have Brielle Oakley, who is one of our Power Haus Women market partners out of Dallas, Texas. And she has also spent so much time like dedicating herself to growing her YouTube channel, utilizing it to fuel her business. And she has so many amazing tips and tricks and experiences regarding YouTube to share with you guys, so that if any of you want to start utilizing YouTube for content creation this year, you're in the right spot. I'm gonna turn the reins over to Miss Brielle.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. I have to preface this by saying I am definitely not the expert and I don't know everything, but I will tell you everything I do know about YouTube. And I've been doing this since 2023 and I've definitely learned quite a bit. So if anybody's interested in doing this year, I feel like I'm a good person to talk to because I've got, a year and a half under my belt. So I'm going to attempt to share the screen. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Lovely Canva. What would we do without her? So I'm Brielle. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I'm a realtor and I got my start on YouTube in 2023. I started really to serve two purposes. I'm a very creative person, and so I really was just craving a creative outlet other than Instagram to really pour some time into. And then I also just wanted to find a new source for clients. And I wanted that source to be something that I could grow and not forever be doing open houses or forever be, actively lead generating. I wanted something that I could pour into that could sit there and it would, find leads for me. And I felt like YouTube was probably the best bet. And so I really started my YouTube channel, and the content that I've been focusing on is real estate education, suburb tours, neighborhood tours, new construction neighborhoods, and then where to live and not to live in Dallas. And I think Dallas, very similar to a lot of your markets, is a big relocation market. So I have a ton of people coming from California, Florida, big cities like Chicago, Ohio, and all the bigger markets. And so a lot of people look to Dallas, and they look to Dallas and they first search on YouTube, like, where should I live? Where are the good schools? Where should I not live in Dallas? And so I was really excited to hop on and just share my knowledge because I also relocated to Dallas. So I felt like I had a very similar story to a lot of my clients. And then these have been some of my most popular videos on YouTube. A lot of the suburb tours do really well. Like Plano and Frisco are two of the most popular suburbs north of Dallas. And so I always get asked about them. So, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. But when I think about, planning videos and creating content that actually matters to people, I think you just have to think about like, what would someone who's never been to your place or your market, like, what would they ask about? And my first question would be like, okay, like, what are the best suburbs? Like, if I don't want to live in Dallas, where else should I live? And so the best suburbs did really well for me. And then, of course, the Plano Frisco. And then in the right, you can see the Frisco versus Plano. I made that video right after I did the Plano and Frisco video. And so it was like very easy to just make a third video comparing the two because they're so similar. So it wasn't reinventing the wheel. It was really just like soaking as much as I could out of the two videos I already made. And so I think, there's a huge misconception about long form content. Everybody's like, oh my God, long form content's got to be 30 minutes long. It's got to be 45 minutes. And truthfully, I feel like long form content is anything that's longer than a TikTok video or anything that's longer than an Instagram video. And it's really like, if you can say what you're going to say within 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or a minute, it should definitely be short form. But if you need more time to say something longer or to explain a thought, it's long form. And that can be 3 to 5 minutes. It can be 10 to 15 minutes. It can be 30 to 45, and it could be an hour long. I feel like a lot of the vlog girlies I see, they're doing the 30+ minutes. But my content, like I focus a lot on the 10 to 15 minute mark because I have a lot of information to share. So normally I kind of stay within that range. But this year I want to try 3 to 5 minutes, which is really just like talking about a topic or a hot take and just really going deep on like one specific thing. And then you also kind of have to distinguish like a long form viewer is going to be very different than a short form scroller. Like in the short form world, you've got to capture them in the first, 5 seconds. Whereas long form, you kind of have to wrap your head around your viewers wanting to watch you for a longer period of time. Like they are looking at YouTube videos because they're invested. They want to sit there. They want to watch a video that's like a little bit longer than scrolling on TikTok. But they're also looking to be educated. They want to learn something different that they're not going to be able to learn in 30 seconds or less on social media. And so this gets into a little bit of my process. I'm going to try and minimize myself because I can't see. Okay. So this is a little bit of my process. I typically start with, of course, the idea, and then I do a little bit of research around the idea, and then I head into outlining. And I'll tell you, let's see. Oh, there we go. The idea part and the research part is definitely where I spend a majority of my time now. Because the idea, I mean, your video is only as good as the idea. And, the idea's got to be really good. And then you've got to put some, research behind it. You may want to plug in some numbers, some statistics, or some pretty pictures to show what you're talking about. And so I feel like this is where I spend a majority of my time now versus editing because I've outsourced that. But then, once I've got a good idea, I've done some research, then I'm going to script it out. I'm going to outline it. Then I'm going to head to shooting. Then I'm going to send that to my editor. My editor and I will go back and forth with some feedback. Then I will start plugging in, some SEO, some keywords. I'll craft the caption, and then we'll publish it. And so this is a little bit of my like idea phase, and I call this my idea parking lot. I use Notion, and I love Notion. It's kind of hard to start with. Like you definitely have to get the swing of it. But then once you do, I feel like this is such a great platform to plan content. And so this is in Notion. This is my idea parking lot, and this is really like anytime I come across an idea or I come across a different video that I might want to remake, or I'm driving around, I'm like, oh my God, my client just asked me this. This would be such a killer YouTube video. I will plug it into here. Oh no, hold on. There we go, so it's going. So then the cool thing is you can click into each one of these, and this is where I store the outline. So I've got my idea, and then I'll click on one, and that'll take me into my outline where I can plug in, pictures, I can plug in links. I can just kind of give myself a reminder of what I'm talking about and where I'm going with this. And then I'll also include notes to my editor, because what I'll end up doing is I will take this whole outline and I'll export it as a PDF. And then when I send my editor, like, the talking head videos and the B-roll, I'll also send them the outline so they kind of know how I want the video structured. And then shooting. So this was like one of my first videos. Actually, I think this was my first video. And, I wanted to show you the comparison because you truly do not have to have a whole lot of stuff to just start. And so I was in my boyfriend's bedroom at the time. I had my Sony ZV-1 camera. I was sitting in front of a window. I had no mic. Like we did not have a lot of furniture in this bedroom either. So the echo was for real. And that's how I started. But I'll tell you, I got clients from this video. I got clients from the first 6 months of videos that I was editing myself. It was not perfect. It did not sound the best. It did not have the best lighting, but it was getting clients. So it just goes to show you like your content is king, and everything else can come afterwards. Like you do not have to have the fancy equipment. You don't have to have fancy lighting or fancy desk chair to get started. And then this is my setup right now. So we have definitely improved, but it's just come with time and trial and error and all the things. So this is my filming schedule, and I think there might be some comments, but I really can't see them. So I'm thinking I'll just go until the end and then I'll answer questions, if that's okay. Literally can't see anybody. So, okay. So the filming schedule kind of looks like this for me. So Monday, I normally use for like an outline day. Like I might take, 2 hours on a Monday and I'll outline some ideas. And then Wednesday is my filming day. I'm filming almost every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, because it's just middle of the week. I feel like my clients are not bugging me on Wednesday. It's like they're either wanting to set up showings at the end of the week or we're coming out of showings from the beginning of the week. So Wednesday is my day. And so I will try and knock out 2 videos in one Wednesday. And really that helps me get ahead of my editor, and just makes me feel like, okay, I've got my shit together. I've got 2 videos knocked out, like we're good. Plus, I mean, you got to put your makeup on, you've got to do the outfit. So if you can, get 2 videos out of that one sitting, I normally will change clothes in between videos to make it look like it's 2 different days. But if you can just like maximize your time in front of the camera as much as possible, like that is one less thing and one less, hour that you have to spend getting ready and such. And then Friday, I'll send all the raw footage to my editor. Normally it's a lot to film. Like filming may take me 30 minutes, 45 minutes, for one video, just kind of depending on like how I'm flowing that day. And then I'll just take a day and then send the raw footage and the outline to my editor because that takes a minute. And then as you can see, like down here, I did a little picture, but I'll label the videos. So I am not a one take kind of gal. I have to do a couple takes. If I just do one long video, like a monologue, it is so hard to edit. And so I normally will like break it out. So like in my outline, I'll have one bullet. And let's say we're talking about, a suburb. I'll talk about the location, I'll talk about the schools, and then I'll cut the video. And then I'll talk about the neighborhood, maybe 1 or 2 houses, and then I'll cut the video. So I really chunk it out to where it's easier for my editor to see kind of where I'm going. And then I'll label all those videos like number 1, number 2, number 3. And then at the same time of making the video, I'll either take my head or the thumbnail shot before or afterwards. And the days that I forget to take this is a pain in the butt. You've got to like put the same outfit on and, do the shot again. So it's best to do it all in one take.
Brielle, I'm obsessed with your thumbnail images. And also, that's what I ask you, which it sounds like, because I think the most intimidating thing for me with YouTube and long form content is like, how can I talk for so long? But it sounds like you have your outline. Like, do you have your outline like on a separate screen or something, or like print it out and then you just try to do it in sections? Or
Yeah. So that's a good question. Let me just go back for a second. So if you look at this picture at the bottom of the screen, I've got my computer there. So I've got my computer in front of me and I'm talking. And so I'll reference back if I can't remember something, or if I'm like, okay, there was a statistic that I definitely wanted to say. I've got my computer so I can look at that, and then I'll look back at the camera and say that stat. And it's so weird filming. And I'm sure like those of you who have played around with short form, this. But like it can be choppy. Like the people aren't going to see the choppiness. Your editor is going to edit that out, or you're going to edit that out. Like it can be as choppy as you want it to be because it's all going to look very streamlined when it's done. But, you just got to get the things that you want to say in there. And however you do that, whether that's in 1 take or 3 takes or however many takes, like, you've just got stuff to play with. Okay, so for my talking head, I normally do, I use the Sony ZV-1, and I highly recommend the camera. I really like it a lot. It gives that like soft effect to your face, which I love. And then the Osmo gimbal is what I use for, doing some B-roll like this one. And then I also use this for my short form content. Like when I do videos where I'm like walking around a house, I also use this. So it serves me a lot of purposes. And then if I have a relocation client, I normally am filming with this one with them, like while they're on FaceTime with me. So this is a really good one, and you can get it on Amazon. So editing, 2023, when I first started, I was editing myself and it was awful. The edits were not great and I knew they weren't great, but I really wanted to learn how to edit for 3 reasons. Like number one, I wanted to learn the back end. And number two, I wanted to learn the back end so I knew how to critique my future editor. I knew I didn't want to edit for the long term, but I just wanted to see what they were going to be looking at. So maybe I could improve in one way or another to maybe cut their time back. And that is one thing that I definitely am so proud of myself for doing is, like I said, like when you do a whole monologue of just talking, it is so hard to edit that because you're looking back at like 2 minutes of footage and then you're going back to 5 minutes of footage and you're trying to figure out like, okay, where do I slice? Where do I cut? Okay, should I plug this in here or should I plug it in here? So it really gave me a newfound respect for long form editing. And I knew on the shooting side, I needed to get that shit really tight. And I needed to say exactly what I needed to say without as many words as I was using. So it really taught me a lot about the editing side. And I think my editor is probably like, thank God she knows semi what we're doing back here, because it definitely helps. And then in 2024, my editor actually found me. He found me from my YouTube videos. He edited one of my YouTube videos that I had already published. I was so impressed that he had edited the whole thing and made it 10 times better. And I was like, okay, you are hired. And that was the end of that. And I think the question that I get a lot is, should you hire an editor? And I think it really depends on how much time you have and if you really want to learn how to edit. I think a lot of the people that I see on YouTube now, if they're the vlogger, if they are doing vlog style content, they like to edit their own YouTube videos because it's hard to tell somebody how you want your vlog to be. And you really have to give your editor direction on those kind of things. And so if you're living your day to day, you know your day to day. And so it's easier for you to cut up your day to day because you know what happened. But if you're sending that to somebody, you really have to give, pretty good detail to your editor and say like, this is what happened at 10 a.m. This is what happened at 12 p.m. This is what I'm going to plug in at 2 p.m. So, I think for vlog style, maybe you want to try and edit yourself. But for my kind of content where it's like very education centered, I would definitely recommend hiring an editor. But I wanted to give you an example of this girl, Jennifer Beeston. She's a loan officer and everybody needs to go and check out her channel because she's absolutely incredible. She has a mix of different long form styles. So like some of her videos will be longer, some of them will be a little bit shorter and on a very specific topic, which is why, she's kind of inspired me to do like a 3 to 5 minute video and just test that out this year. But it's not a lot of editing. It's not a lot of animation. She doesn't seem to have like fancy cameras or fancy equipment. It's just her talking. And I mean, look, she's got like less than 100,000 subscribers. So the girl is killing it. And she's not, investing a lot into editing or equipment. So there's something to be said about editing and there's something to be said about just doing raw form content. And so I think you just maybe try both and see what you like and what kind of content you're going to be putting out. But if you are looking to hire an editor, from what I've seen, typical price is like $250 to $350. I told my editor out the gate, I was like, listen, I do not want you to charge me per video. I want this to be a very long partnership. And so my editor and I are, I pay him on like a 3-month basis, like every 3 months I'm paying him. So it's not per video. And I feel like, when you talk to these editors, you really have to negotiate. And that's our job, ladies who are real estate agents here. We negotiate for a living. So I would definitely encourage you to negotiate that rate and try and like spread it out if you can. And so I've found a couple editors on Fiverr that were really good. Some of them were more pricey than others. You do get what you pay for though. So I will say that. But another colleague of mine actually reached out to a nearby college and university around here. And he reached out to their graphic design department and said, hey, look, I'm looking for an editor. Do you have anybody that I could use or like would want a part-time job? And he locked in an editor and they've been together for like 3+ years now, and they've created a great relationship. And, you know, these college students, they want part-time work, but they also want a resume and portfolio builder. So something like this could be awesome. You just also have to keep in the back of your head that they might leave you because they're a college student and they may actually get a real job one day. So that's like the only caveat to that. And then, I mean, what to look for: somebody that can work on a deadline, somebody who's going to be very responsive to feedback. Some of these editors are so, you know, this is their craft and they put so much time into it that they're not super responsive to feedback. And that's a tough one because, you know, you got to teach these editors your style. All of our styles are going to be differently. We're going to want our look to be different, our feel to be different. And so you really have to teach them what it is that you want. And so that is done so via feedback. And if they can't take feedback, then, you know, you're probably not going to have them for the long term. And then these are a couple apps that I use. For organization, as you guys saw, I love Notion. I think it's awesome. Slack is what my editor and I go back and forth on. It's pretty easy communication. ChatGPT is amazing. I literally can't rave about it enough. I use it to write emails. I use it to write really tough text to clients if that's needed, God forbid. I use it to outline videos. I mean, I create full-on dialogue with ChatGPT. Like, we're best friends at this point, and we have full conversations back and forth about videos, and it remembers like what I've told it before. So like, it'll remember things and say, oh, you know, you can take this from that one video that you've already made. Like, it's kind of scary, but it's awesome. And then editing, Canva, you know, praise God to Canva. Like, what would we do without her? I have found some really good thumbnails on Canva when I was doing it by myself. Now my editor does a lot of my thumbnails, but originally I was using Canva. I was also using Canva for the intro and the outro. If you want to do an intro and outro, they've got some really great templates that you can kind of plug and play with. Epidemic Sound is where I get all my music for the videos. And I could go into like a full analysis of Epidemic Sound because there's like so much to talk about with that, but that's a really good one. DaVinci Resolve is what I was using to edit. I knew that I was not going to be editing long term, so this was a free platform that I was playing around with. I did not want to invest in like the Adobe Pro suite. I was like, I just need the free version. I need to know the basics, and then I'm hopping out and sending this to somebody else. So DaVinci Resolve was a really good one. And then Opus Clip, I don't know if anybody's used Opus Clip before, but this is a way that you can cut up your long form videos, and it does it for you. It's not free, but there's a charge to it, and I don't use it too much anymore because my editor is cutting up mine, but I know a lot of realtors who use this for their YouTube and they really like it a lot. But I mean, you know, anything to help you kind of create long form and short form at the same time. I mean, I think it's a win-win. So definitely would check out this Opus Clip. And then TubeBuddy is what I use for my analytics. And I can go fully in depth and I can totally geek out over the analytics, but I'll save that for another day. And then, you know, should you make a YouTube channel? I think this ultimately is up to you. I think you got to consider the time that you have to invest in it, the, you know, passion and craving you have towards making something creative. Because at this point, like, I love YouTube. I love it. I mean, if I never get a lead after today, I think I'll still have some draw to YouTube just because it's, you know, working that creative muscle of mine, and I just love that. So I think you do have to love YouTube to like put the time and, you know, put in the reps for this kind of thing. And a lot of the, you know, I would say, gosh, what am I thinking? A lot of the roadblocks are these little phrases right here. So like, my friends are going to judge me. My friends are going to think I'm crazy for starting a YouTube channel. Like, it's going to be so cringe. And then my colleagues in the office, they're probably not going to take me seriously. Or, you know, I don't have the right equipment. Like, maybe I have the camera, but I don't have the setup. I don't have a room. I don't have a studio to do YouTube. And then, you know, I didn't think I was very good on camera when I started. But the biggest one for me was like, what if the whole thing is a waste of time? Like, that right there. All the other ones I could kind of swallow, but what if it's a huge waste of time? Like, that was the one thing that stopped me from starting. And I wish it hadn't, because I think with anything, you've got to try it. You know, like, how are you going to know you're not good on camera? How are you going to know that this is not going to work out if you don't just try it? And I think anything, like in real estate specifically, you got to give it 3 months. You know, like, you got to give it 3 months of full effort to decide if that's, you know, a lead source you want to keep going after, or if that's something you're good at, if it's something you like, if you don't like. And then after the 3 months, like, throw in the towel. If this is not your jam, like, don't keep doing it. Do something else. But if you find a love for this, like I did, it was very easy to like keep going and keep generating content because it was fun. And then I really wanted to leave the bulk of this time for questions, because I had a hard time putting all of this into slides just because there's so much with YouTube. So I just wanted to open it up and see who had questions and if I needed to geek out on anything specific. I guess I'll look at the chat because I have not looked at them.
Brielle, we can kind of like moderate them for you, maybe Gia, if you want to, but I have a quick question that I want
Okay,
to
yeah.
first. What, like, do you feel like, because obviously with Instagram, I feel like you should be like differentiating your content. So like, you know, I try to post like different stuff that's not all real estate. Like I'll try to post lifestyle things. Do you think like to an extent you should do that with YouTube, or do you think you should just kind of like find a niche and like stick to it? For example, like, should I just post like all neighborhood tours on YouTube, or should I try to like do some like day in the life vlogs of like a realtor and post neighborhood and post like fun events in Miami? Like, should you switch it up or?
I think you definitely switch it up, because you know, when you first start out on YouTube, or you start out on, you know, any social media platform, it's a lot of trial and error, right? Like, you're just trying to get a feel for like what people actually like, what do they want to watch? Do they want to watch more of my vlogs, or do they want to watch more of like my neighborhood tours? So I think be generous in all the types of content that you try, and just see what works and see what your audience gravitates towards. But I think when you start a YouTube channel, like, you're not going to get views for the first 6 months to a year. So it's like, you got to swallow that. And like, I wouldn't spend too much time on anything for the first 6 months, because you got to like go in with the expectation, like, okay, this is not going to get views. This is just for practice. This is just for reps. And then your more detailed and, you know, high level videos, like, those are going to come later. But yeah, I would say try everything to see what you like and what you don't like.
Hi, I'm sorry to crash. It's Maya. Carly told me about this, but I do have a question. So thank you for letting me crash to your
Yes, for sure.
So, you know, I obviously, like, my IG is way more exposure. I started doing the YouTube, and I'm doing kind of like what you mentioned, you know, outsource to editing, film once a week, also Wednesday, oddly enough. My question to you, when you upload to YouTube, what category do you choose your video? Because I tried the how-to, and now I'm doing entertainment just to test the algorithm. Do you find something that's more helpful than other, or just to test it out and see?
I think you have to test it out and see. I found that I don't I think the category that I've been putting myself under is education, I want to say. But I think more so that what matters is like the thumbnail, that you're drawing people's attention.
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest part is just the title, because that title is what's going to show up in, you know, the SEO, and that's what people are going to be searching for. So I think category matters less than the title and the thumbnail.
Got it. And the title, when you do it, I mean, I also use ChatGPT. How do you target the title to do the SEO? Do you have like any certain keywords, or just kind of using
Yeah.
ChatGPT by giving me the best SEO? Like, what do you?
Yeah, I think I kind of play around with that. Like, I also ask ChatGPT, like, hey, this is what my video is about. Sometimes I'll plug in my outline to ChatGPT and I'll be like, hey, this is what I'm talking about. Give me a very high SEO title that also corresponds with a creative thumbnail. And it'll give me some ideas for that. But what I'll do is I'll plug those into TubeBuddy, which is where I look at all my analytics. And
Mhm.
TubeBuddy is great because it shows you how many people and who's searching for stuff. And so that's also what helps me like figure out, okay, Brielle, you're getting way too niche. Like, you're talking to maybe, you know, 20% of people out there versus, okay, this video is going to perform really well because a lot of people are searching for it. So I would say definitely look at TubeBuddy and look at the analytics to see if that's even being searched.
Cool. And one last question, how long it took you until you got kind of like your first lead? And did they text you? Did they send you an email? Did you do anything specific to get those?
Yeah. So I get a lot of mine via email, and then some people will just text me, and then I try and like loop that back into email so I can track everything. Because sometimes text messages, like we get so many text messages every day. And so I have to like at the end of every day, I'm like, okay, let me do 3 scrolls and make sure I've gotten to everybody. So I try and loop them back into email, which is easiest to track. And the cool thing about these YouTube leads and what's so crazy is they're bought in. I mean, they watch your channel, they get your vibe, they know who you are as a person. And so there's a whole lot of trust that's being built while they're watching these videos. So by the time we get on the phone and we're talking about their search, what they're looking for, like there is no talk about commission. There is no talk about like, are you the right fit? Like we're not interviewing other agents. Like, no, it's like, Brielle, you're it. Whatever your commission is, like we're up for it. And then they tell you exactly what they're looking for. Like, this is my budget. This is where we're looking. This is what's important to us. These are the videos that we really liked from you, which also helps me think about, okay, like this is kind of where I was going in those videos. So yeah, that's kind of how it works after they kind of find me on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brielle, this is awesome. Everyone feel free to raise your hand. Oh, Madeline, go ahead. We'll get to all of the questions in the chat. Don't worry.
Maybe I just missed this, but I'm just curious, like how many videos you post per month? Like if you have a formula for that, because I know you do 2 every Wednesday. So is it typically 8 or do you typically do more, less? I'm just curious, like what you typically do.
Yeah, no, good question. So right now I'm doing 4 videos every month. The exception was this month. My editor and I kind of had some things going back and forth in personal life. So January is the exception, but moving forward, it's normally 4 times a month, which is like one
Okay.
time a week, every Friday
Yeah.
when I like to post.
Okay.
But I think,
And
you got to figure out like, if you have time, like if I have
Yeah.
Wednesday all free, I'm like, okay, Brielle, 2 videos, girlfriend. Like you are getting 2 videos done. And then if I'm so ahead, like it may be like 2 or 3 weeks before I record again.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you were first building up a base, were you more heavy and now you feel like because you have that base, you've been able to scale back? Like at first, were you doing like more than that? And then you scaled back to once a week or what did that look like?
I think when I first started, I was just lucky to get like all the editing done. I don't think I was posting every week because it was just like it was so much editing. Like I was just drowning in editing plus clients. And
Yeah.
so I don't even think I mean, I think I was lucky if I was doing maybe 2 a month.
Okay.
But now that I've got an editor, I'm like, okay, I've got to pay for this editor. I've got to make this worth it. Like we are busting out as many videos as we possibly can. So I think, it's full motion. I've definitely not taken a back seat.
Got it. Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Brielle, I probably need to go watch one of the videos, but are you doing them where you're just pre-recording everything and then using like the floating head as you're like talking about things? Or are you having a videographer videotape you, or are you setting up a tripod? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just the talking head. So it'll be me talking to the camera. And then ahead of time, like before that, okay, let me start. If I'm giving an example of like a suburb tour, then I've created the outline. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And maybe I'm going to highlight 3 different neighborhoods. Before I sit down and record that talking head video, I've already went to that neighborhood or suburb and shot B-roll. So then by the time I'm talking, I can reference stuff that I had recorded. If that makes sense. So then it's like me talking and then they can overlay footage because I'm normally talking about the footage.
Perfect. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
And lately I've got that new camera. Oh my gosh, the Pocket 3, the Osmo Pocket 3. So I've been playing around with that, which will really help me be like, in real time, showing myself and the properties behind me. So yeah, I'm playing around with that, but the talking head is super easy because you can just sit here with your outline and like all the things.
And then let me ask you, are you doing there is hashtags in YouTube, right?
It's keywords.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there somewhere where you're going to find what the keywords is? That the TubeBuddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
TubeBuddy will also like send you suggestions on the keywords that you can use. But it's
Okay.
like you wanna tie some in that are pretty niche to your video. Like if you're talking about a specific neighborhood, maybe you want to do a keyword of your actual name so you can increase your search. Um, so those are all the keywords. And then you
Okay.
can also, if you have TubeBuddy, you can go and look at similar videos. Like let's say somebody did a very similar video to what you're making, but like yours is better. Then you can go look at their video and see what keywords they used. And if it did really well, you can actually copy and paste those to your video.
Amazing. Love
Yeah.
that.
I have a question. Does TubeBuddy let you know what people in your specific area are searching? Like if you put in, I guess, I mean, I don't even know what the app looks like, but if you're putting in like real estate specific, does it tell you what people in your specific market are looking at for or just general?
I would say something similar but different. On the YouTube backend, like YouTube Studio, you can go in and see where your viewers are coming from and how long they're watching and what else they're watching. I think that's what's really impactful is to see what else they're watching. Like, are they watching all videos on Dallas, Texas, or are they watching like lifestyle videos? Like, what are my people watching? So I've not seen like directly that, but what I have seen is like what your viewers are also watching.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Brielle, somebody asked, can you speak on what to say about schools as a realtor since we can't say specific things? This might be market specific, but not sure if you have any regulations in Texas about what you can and can't say and how you might get around that.
Yeah, I always want to be the source of the source. Like I want to be a source for resources. And so like on almost every video I publish, I will link in the description, like these are where you can go to like look at school ratings. So it's like I'm giving you greatschools.org. I'm giving you, all of these resources where you can find the ratings for schools. And if I talk about them in my videos, it's like a screen share of greatschools.org or of, wherever I'm getting those school ratings. So it's like, it's not going to come back at me. I'm giving you what the ratings are, and I'm telling you, you should go and look into that. Because, I mean, ratings are different for every school. And so, you got to look into the demographics and, student teacher ratio. Like there's so many things. And that's what I say in my videos. I'm like, look, like you can go here and find the school ratings, but I'm not going to tell you what those ratings actually are. But I feel comfortable saying like, Frisco is known for having good schools. Like it has a reputation for good schools. So I think you just have to be political.
Another question from the chat. How do you manage storage on all of your devices? My computer is tapped out of storage. I have an external hard drive, etc.
Oh my gosh, I have not figured that out either. I use Drive to share all of my videos with my editor, and that seems to be working right now. I mean, I think I've got like the terabyte thing on my phone, and I mean, I have to get a new one like every 2 years. So it's embarrassing how much content and storage it takes up. But I've not figured that out yet, to be honest. But I do like Drive. I think Drive is really good.
I had a question that I also put in the chat. Your presentation is incredible, by the way. It's
Oh,
you're
yeah.
truly an amazing individual, and I think everyone agrees. Could you just go to the very beginning when you talked about like walk us through how you even thought, hey, maybe my ideal client is going to be searching YouTube when they're looking to relocate or buy a house. Like to me, it's not intuitive that your ideal client would be on YouTube versus TikTok or Instagram. So how did you think about them? And then you started to share some of what you learned, like the fact that you can see other videos that they're interested in, but like, how does it help you close better? And you did answer some of that already, but yeah, just talking about the process of like why you picked this channel and what anything like affirming or surprising versus so many others.
I think, oh my gosh, that was like a million questions in one. I'm trying to figure out where to start. Okay, give me the first question again. My head's like going in circles.
Sure. I think the really first question is because what you did a really good job of was like, here's how I started and here's where I am now. And I
Mhm.
think the stuff in between is very overwhelming and scary for, I'll speak for many of us, because it's like, how did she get from A to Z? But
Yeah.
the fact that you were just consistent, which, seems simple but not easy. So, but
Mhm.
even thinking through like, there's so many things you could do with your time. Why did you think your ideal customer, like, how do you know your ideal customer was watching YouTube videos?
Okay. Okay, yes. Okay. So I relocated to Dallas, right? I relocated from North Carolina. And the first thing I did when I was looking at places to live, because I was going to go to New York. Like my thing out of college, I was like, Brielle, you're made for the city. Like you are going to New York, you're going to do XYZ. COVID happened and that didn't happen. So I was like, okay, where am I going to go instead? And the first place I went to was YouTube. And I was searching like, okay, Dallas, Texas neighborhoods, Dallas, Texas apartments, like where not to live in Dallas. And so I was innately just like, I need to find videos. I want to see where people are living. I don't necessarily like want to hear their stories, but I want to see where they're living. I want that like boots on the ground feeling because I didn't know anybody in Dallas and I'd never been to Dallas before. So I was moving here totally blind, which is what most of my clients do. Most of them have maybe been to Dallas like once or twice. And so I knew, like, based on my personal experience, I knew people needed to see that. And so that was also a big driver for me, is I was like, okay, my there's people out there who are in my shoes. They're moving with a family. Like I moved by myself, they're moving with a freaking family. They've got kiddos that they're putting in these Dallas schools. They need my information. They need these videos to help them land in a good spot. So that also fueled me, especially once I started getting like 1 to 2 leads. Like my first 1 to 2 leads, they were amazing. And they were families moving down here. They were really desperate just to talk to somebody who knew the area and kind of point them in what direction to start because they didn't even know what to start. And so that I was like, okay, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. It's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I am really making a huge difference for these people that are reaching out to me because they genuinely need the help. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, once again, you're really smart, and I think that's great. I mean, the key takeaway is you were the customer, so you thought like the customer. I mean, I know customer is not the right verbiage, but yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think I think YouTube and social media at large can be so overwhelming because you see so many types of content. Like you see the vlogs, you see the education, you see like really short stuff or really amazing animations on videos. And you're just like, oh my God, like I don't even know what I like. Like how do I know what I'm supposed to put out there if I don't even know what I like? And so I think, a big part of me, like when I first started this YouTube channel is I was trying to figure out what I genuinely liked. Like, what did I like watching on YouTube? What did I feel like was super cringe? And I really studied what I didn't like and what I liked and how people were talking on YouTube. Like, I hated when people were talking at me. I liked when people were talking to me and they were showing me stuff. Like, show me rather than tell me is kind of the philosophy there. And, if you're talking about a suburb, well, why don't you show the suburb? If you're talking about a neighborhood, well, show the neighborhood. Like you're talking to people who are living thousands of miles away. They don't want to hear you talk about it. They want to see you. They want to see you in the suburb. They want to see you in the neighborhood. Like show us, don't tell us. It got so quiet. Where'd everybody go?
I have another question. Okay. So I feel inspired now. I mean, I don't know if I'm definitely going to do YouTube, but
Oh my gosh, Marley, you should. What are you
no,
talking
I don't.
about?
I mean, I could definitely talk for 30 plus minutes, but aside
Blair.
from that, um, okay, you said that like you loved YouTube prior, like you would go on it yourself and you would, you know, search videos, whatever. I don't go on YouTube ever. Like I
Okay.
never watch long form content. I don't even think I have the attention span for it. So for somebody like me, because I like TikTok, like I could sit and scroll on TikTok for hours. Like,
Yeah.
how would you transition from something like that to TikTok? Like, just start watching the videos more, or just like, I don't know. I don't really know for sure what I'm asking, but I just feel like that
Yeah.
transition might be harder for me.
No, I hear you. I think the first step is really just watching some long form videos to see what you like and see what you kind of gravitate towards. Because ultimately, like even when you were going to post short form content, like what did you do first? Like if you were going to do a day in the life, like you're watching someone's day in the life first to kind of see what they show. Like, did they show too much? Did they not show enough? Like, how did you feel about that? Whatever you saw. And so I feel like it's the same thing with long form. But I think the cool thing right now is like if you're at the stage where you're trying to learn something, YouTube is a great space. And so it's like right now, for you to even start on YouTube, like I would be looking up, how do you start on YouTube? Like, what does a day in the life look like of a YouTuber? Or, look up a couple suburb tours around you and see what people are doing. And so I think just like the research stage will tell you a lot and give you a lot of insight as to like how you want to be different and how you want to craft your own videos.
Okay, yeah, that's good advice. And do you ever take any like clips from your long form content and put it on like Instagram, TikTok as well, and kind of use it all for all three?
Oh, no, I don't. And my editor
That's
wants
something a
me
lot of
to.
YouTubers do, or is it not that common? I don't really know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Think about YouTube.
It's hard because I feel, and my editor and I, we go back and forth, and he's like, Brielle, you need to be putting this stuff everywhere. And I'm like, no, it's different. Like my Instagram is so aesthetic. Like, don't mess with my flow. So we go
I
back
get
and forth
that.
all the time. I know, because it's like the thing. So I feel like TikTok is one of those things where you can just kind of like post and ghost. Like it does not have to be consistent and it does not have to be as beautiful as Instagram. So if I were to do that, I would probably do it on TikTok more so than
Okay, yeah.
Instagram. But Instagram is so like aesthetic, and I'm like, I cannot be messing up my feed. Like I
Well,
spend so
you can
much
always
time.
change the thumbnail on
Yeah,
things. But I just wasn't sure if there's a like if it's common to kind of take bits and pieces of like a long form video and like kind of tease it on Instagram. I think Morgan does that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
think I think if you do long form, like I definitely post mine on my story, because like,
Yeah.
you post it on your story, you give a link so you direct the traffic to there. I want to get better at posting mine on LinkedIn. Because I've had a lot of clients tell me like, hey Brielle, you need to post this on LinkedIn. It's like we're having huge, companies relocate to Dallas and like they need to find you on LinkedIn. So that's my next hurdle is getting on LinkedIn. But I don't feel comfortable about posting on Instagram yet. Like the post at least.
I get it. I get it. No, but that was a really good response. Thank you.
Mhm. But I do break it up for shorts. Like I do post, like I'll break stuff up and put it on YouTube shorts because it's like the same thing. Same platform, same style, that kind of thing.
I was going to ask you what you thought about YouTube Shorts because I know that's like their kind of rival to Reels and everything, and if that still gets a lot of push.
Yeah. I think it gets okay push. I mean, I think their algorithm is not great. I think their algorithm compared to TikTok, like you can't touch it. And then Instagram, it's just not there. Plus like the editing in shorts and the music that they give you is just so bad. So it's like I'm just posting to shorts to like link it to my other long form video. Because you can link it to something that's relatable. And so that's what I'm doing is just like driving traffic to the longer form video. But I really hope they get shorts. I really hope the algorithm gets better for that because I think it's got a lot of potential, but from my experience, like it's just not great.
That makes sense.
Like I'm not scrolling on YouTube Shorts, that's for sure.
Yeah, I started doing it a little bit. It was just all over the place, and I was like,
It's all over the
nah.
place. Yeah. And I'm like, this could be so good. This is so untapped, but it's just it's all over the place. Like I see stuff that I don't want to see, and I'm like, okay, no. This is like Facebook.
Yeah.
I feel like Facebook's like,
Yeah, Facebook's all I don't know.
yeah. I know I see a lot of like, farming dog stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not here for that.
I'll get weird stuff like that. I'm like, I've never once looked at something like this. Why would
Right.
you show it to me?
Right. Oh yeah, it's bad. It's bad, bad, bad. Is there any other chats in the question or if there are questions?
I have another question.
Okay.
And maybe I just missed this, but when you like if you ever go out and film like in communities and stuff, if you use your iPhone, do you form horizontal or is that something like if you film vertical, will your editor take care of that?
Most of my stuff is always filmed this way. So like for
Okay.
YouTube, whenever I've got that gimbal, like if
Yeah.
I'm doing the short form, like I'm filming like this. If I'm
Okay,
doing
got it,
long
got it.
form, I'm always filming like that.
Okay, so just basically make sure that you're filming with that tool vertical, not vertical, so horizontal. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I do I use 4K. So it does
Okay.
take up a lot of storage, but the quality is so much better. So it's just like
Yeah.
one of these things. Like just delete it afterwards, but get the video.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? And if you want to ask me any questions or go really, deeper on any of these specific topics, like I'm more than happy to. You can text me or call me anytime. I feel like I know a lot, but I didn't necessarily put everything in the slides because it's so overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out. So definitely feel free to text me or call me and I'll tell you everything you want to know.
I might have missed this. I think we missed a question in the chat from Julia about the Opus clip. It said, can you
Okay.
give more info on Opus clip? Is it a preferred method for editing?
So Opus Clip is really just to kind of help you make some short form content from your long form. So, you plug in or you give a link to your long form video and then it chops it up as it sees fit. And then you can go back and change the edits and change where it chopped it up and kind of like play with the text and that kind of thing. So I've not used it a whole lot. I used it a little bit before I started working with my editor, and then he found me pretty quick, and I was like, "Hey, can you chop up my stuff?" And he was like, "Yes." So I didn't necessarily use Opus Clip a whole lot, but I know a lot of realtors who do use it to cut up their YouTube videos. And I think they do have a trial on Opus Clip, so maybe just like hop on there and play with it and see, if you like how it's chopping your video up. Otherwise, like maybe just pull some stuff from CapCut. I use CapCut mostly.
Cool. And quick question about I just thought of, because I love how you organized everything in Notion. I've never used Notion, but I had a girl for who we hired for my studio to do social stuff, and she used Notion. And I
Yeah.
she wanted us to use it too, but I didn't tap into it enough. Is that free, or do you pay for it every month? And would you really recommend it? I mean, because to me, if I'm going to start YouTube, I need to have organization like that of here are the outlines. So that
Yeah.
looks
No, I really like Notion. It's free. I think they have versions of it that, you pay for, especially when you get into the integrations and all. But no, the one that I use is free and they have really cool templates. Like if you go on the Notion website, you can type in CRM or client tracker or short form content or content calendar, and they have templates. I find it hard to make my own templates just because that whole thing is so overwhelming. But I like to use other people's templates and kind of make them my own.
Carly,
Love
I'm
it.
pretty sure, not positive, Gia would probably know more than I would, but I'm pretty sure Monday.com also can do all the same things that Notion can. I was actually on a call. Yeah, I was on a call recently with this guy that is doing my website and he uses Notion and he showed me his whole thing and it looked similar to Monday. Just saying, because we're already going to use that.
It does. Monday and Notion are great. It's truly one of those whatever works better for you, for whatever you're using it for.
Notion was so intimidating when I started using it though. I was like, oh my God, where are the buttons? What is this? Where is this going?
Brielle, this has been incredible.
Yay!
Thank you so
Killed
much.
it.
Okay, good. It's a lot. It's so much. YouTube is so much. So I didn't know where to go, but I felt like foundations.
It was amazing. I can't wait to
Yeah,
rewatch.
that was perfect. Now it's just putting everything into practice. Now that I've had January to put a few videos out there and go through editing, I can't wait to outsource the editing because that is annoying.
I know.
Inspired.
The girls who do their own editing, I'm like, you must have all the time in the world. I genuinely don't know how they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
But
social
Morgan,
one of
your
mine,
videos
oh
are
my
looking
God.
good.
Thank
They look
you.
really good.
One of mine, I got the first one, my storage has been so screwed up and there's so many things going on that I
Yeah.
like lost half of it. So I posted it just being like, it good is good enough. Like we'll just get it done. We'll learn the next time. But
Yeah.
I'm getting way more comfortable quicker. So that's good.
Yeah, no, that's good. I know
I
my first
stalked a lot of your
video.
videos.
Oh, well, good. Please do. I go back and humble myself sometimes. I'm like, okay, Brielle, you need to like go back and look at the first two and just like remember how far you've come.
Yeah, that's the awesome part though, because I do that a lot with Instagram as well, because I've been doing it for 10 years now. And I've had so many clients that they've been following me from the beginning and they're like, your
Yeah.
videos have completely transformed. So in their heads, they're like, oh, Morgan's getting better and better and better
I know.
where I am, but they see it on a whole different level, which is cool.
I know, it is really cool. And I mean, YouTube is one of those things that you can just keep growing over the years. And so I'm excited to see like where these people follow me. Because I mean, I have people that'll reach out and they're like, we followed you since you started. And I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. Like you really saw the worst of me. Sorry about it. You know?
Oh yeah.
But they, they're silent stalkers. Like it's the same as like short form. They follow you until they're ready, and then when they're ready, they're like, "Oh my God, you're it! Like you're the only person we want." So it's cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
I have something else to say. I think if anything were to happen to TikTok, because we don't know what's gonna happen to it, I think everyone's gonna go to YouTube, and that's gonna be the new spot. And I've already noticed like a bunch of huge creators kind of moving over to YouTube already. So, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with that app, but if it goes away, YouTube is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
Again, it was huge. And then TikTok came around, and then everyone kind of got ADHD and can't watch long form
Right?
content anymore.
I feel like long form's so much more intimate though. Like short form's just so fast, and then
Definitely
long form, it's like, I mean, that's what the influencers talk about. They're like, my audience on YouTube is so loyal. They're so sweet. They're so invested. But it's like they watch you for 30 minutes a week. Like they are with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're tuning in. Yeah, I think you build definitely like a legitimate
Mhm.
community on there, which is cool.
I know it's time and I already asked a question, but I think this is a good closing one.
Okay.
Can you say like, just on a personal level, I mean, professional, personal, but what's next for you? Like, obviously you're in a rhythm, you're going to continue this, but what is next for you since you've already gained some mastery in this area?
Oh, I don't know. I love it. I love it. I just want to see how big I can get it. And I told my editor when I hired him, I was like, look, like I want to build this thing big. Like I want this to be a huge thing. And I want this to far surpass like just being a lead source. Like I want this to be bigger than that. I don't even know what that looks like, but I definitely feel like I'm onto something. I just don't know what it is. So I'll keep you updated, girlfriend. We'll see. I don't know.
I'm gonna go watch all your YouTubes tonight instead of scrolling on TikTok.
Oh my God. Let me know your favorite one.
I just subscribed, so I'll let you
Oh,
know.
sweet. I know I meant to tell everybody, go hit the subscribe button.
It's
Help
in
me out.
in the chat, so everybody subscribe.
Chat for ya.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much, Brielle. This has been amazing, and we adore you.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
So much fun. You guys, the recording will be up on our website tomorrow. So check it out if you want to go back and take notes. I definitely am going to be doing that tomorrow.
Thanks,
Have a
Brielle.
good-
That was amazing.
You're welcome. I'll see you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.